This is Barry Zalma speaking for Claim School Incorporated's blog, Zalma on Insurance. Today we're going to speak about why there can never be coverage under a policy that insures against suits for defamation if there are known false statements made that brought about the lawsuit, and why an exclusion for defamatory or disparaging statements made with knowledge of their falsity is effective. Everyone should know that liability insurance is limited and only provides coverage for unintentional conduct, for things that happen that are fortuitous. The main issue presented to the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals was whether the insurance policy's exclusions, which deny coverage for defamatory or disparaging statements made with knowledge of their falsity, apply. The district court held that the exclusions do apply, as the underlying complaint alleged that the insureds knowingly published false statements. In a case entitled New Hampshire Insurance Company et al. Versus TSG Ski and Golf LLC, the Peaks Owners Association, Inc., Peak Hotel LLC, and H. Curtis Brunjes, the 10th Circuit Court of Appeal on February 24, 2025, affirmed the trial court's decision. TSG Ski and Golf LLC was insured under a group of commercial general liability insurance policies issued by New Hampshire Insurance Company and National Union Fire Insurance Company of Pittsburgh. The policies provided coverage for personal and advertising injury, which included defense for defamation, but excluded coverage for injury arising from the publication of material known to be false. In late 2018, the TSG parties began implementing a three-part scheme to coerce the underlying plaintiffs into paying annual assessments that the TSG parties knew were not owed. First, the TSG parties commissioned a sham audit of the annual assessments paid by Telluride between 2009 and mid-2015. They manipulated the audit to overlook payments made by Telluride through the true-up process, guaranteeing that TSG's accountant would erroneously conclude that Telluride had failed to pay any assessments during the relevant time period. The underlying lawsuit was filed by Telluride Resorts and its principals against TSG and other parties, alleging that they knowingly published false statements to coerce the plaintiffs into paying assessments that were not owed. The jury returned a verdict for the underlying plaintiffs on all claims that proceeded to trial. It awarded the underlying plaintiffs $225,000 in compensatory damages, but declined to award punitive damages. The court also awarded $2,298,225 in statutory attorney's fees and $328,510.53 in costs. The litigation was humongous to come up with that much in fees and costs. The insurers sought a declaratory judgment that they had no duty to defend or indemnify the TSG parties in the underlying lawsuit. The district court granted summary judgment in favor of the insurers, concluding that the knowledge of falsity exclusions precluded coverage. The TSG parties, of course, appealed, and the 10th Circuit found that an insurer need not defend its insured when an exclusion in the insurance policy precludes coverage. To avoid the duty to defend, the insurer must establish that the allegations in the complaint are solely and entirely within the exclusions in the insurance policy. That is, that there is no factual or legal basis on which the insurer might eventually owe coverage. Because the knowledge of falsity exclusions precluded coverage, the insurers, the 10th Circuit concluded, had no duty to defend the TSG parties in the underlying lawsuit. The duty to indemnify, on their hand, relates to the insurer's duty to satisfy a judgment entered against the insured. Unlike the duty to defend, the duty to indemnify arises only when the policy actually covers the harm and typically cannot be determined until the resolution of the underlying claims. At trial, the uncontroverted testimony of TSG and POA officers, all of whom sat on the POA board and approved the debt collection letter, established that the TSG parties knew the statements in the debt collection letter were false when the letter was published. The testimony of multiple witnesses established that the liability imposed against the TSG parties was precluded from indemnification under the knowledge of falsity exclusions. The 10th Circuit therefore concluded that the insurers owed no duty to indemnify the TSG parties for their losses in the underlying lawsuit. But TSG didn't give up. It also asked for bad faith damages, only to find that it was settled law in Colorado, where the case was brought before the district court in the 10th Circuit, that a bad faith claim must fail if coverage was properly denied and the plaintiff's only claimed damages flowed from the denial of coverage. Therefore, the 10th Circuit affirmed the district court's decision, holding that the insurers had no duty to defend or indemnify the TSG parties, and the district court's grant of summary judgment on all claims was affirmed. In my opinion, liability insurance is designed to protect the persons or entities insured against claims or suits that they cause damage to third parties from an accidental or fortuitous cause. Since intentional acts are not accidental nor fortuitous, there can never be coverage for defense or indemnity of intentional acts. The insurers did not rely on the lack of fortuity, however, by also including in the policy wording a clear and unambiguous exclusion for claims of defamation if the insured had knowledge of the falsity of the statements when made and were deprived of a defense or indemnity and had no chance even to get anywhere with their allegations of bad faith. This video was adapted from my blog, Zelma on Insurance, which is available free to anyone who clicks on the URL zelma.com/blog. You can subscribe to the blog, and if you do, you'll receive notice of every blog posting, usually 5, sometimes 6 a week, and you will gain access to the more than 5,000 blog postings. You can also subscribe to these videos on rumble.com and youtube.com. They're free, but if you do, I'd appreciate it if you click on the thumbs up button on Rumble or the like button on YouTube. Please tell your friends and colleagues about this blog and the videos so that they too can subscribe. And if you're interested in learning further detail about insurance, insurance claims, insurance fraud, and insurance law, please consider for a very small fee subscribing to my Substack publications. Thank you for your attention.